So today I have a pretty interesting topic for you guys, and this comes from an Ask FM question I got a couple weeks back asking me, would Vegeta die for Goku? Would he give his own life specifically so Goku could survive and Goku alone? My special guest here today had a good idea to tweet this and say, would Goku and Vegeta give their lives for each other? So would Goku sacrifice his life for Vegeta, or would Vegeta sacrifice his life for Goku? We're not talking about the fate of the world here, we're talking about the fate of just one being. And my special guest today to talk about this is...
Alrighty guys, it is Qaaman here today, and I really appreciate the fact that Baked Beans from Beanie Bop Nation invited me for this topic today.
Yeah, so Quinn, I think that this is a pretty interesting, I think more so for Vegeta in a way, because it's a really good study on his character and how he's grown as a character. But what are your thoughts on Vegeta? I feel like we should cover him first.
Well, I think Vegeta's an interesting case because if we're going with Dragon Ball, I mean, as we are right now in Super, if you exclude GT and if you exclude the ending of Dragon Ball Z, this is pretty much the closest that Vegeta and Goku are to each other in terms of their friendship. And I really feel like in terms of friends, Vegeta and Goku really put an end and resolved their whole rivalry all the way back in the Buu arc. Obviously, because Super was coming back, they had to kind of re-inject that whole rivalry element to make the story more interesting. And I think that from the Kid Buu arc on up, Vegeta and Goku are close enough that Vegeta would probably give his life for Goku. And even if you go back earlier, back when Vegeta was Majin Vegeta and, you know, he was going to blow himself up to stop Buu, Vegeta even said, "And even you, Kakarot." Meaning that, like, he would be willing to give his own life for Goku at that particular stage. Even though it was, like you said, for the whole fate of the world.
Right, we don't know if that was specifically for him, but he did mention him, so it's like...
And it is interesting to say the fact that because Vegeta specifically mentioned Goku, that means he was thinking and conceiving of him in his brain when he thought of killing himself to stop Buu. So that clearly tells you that Vegeta would be willing to make a sacrifice for the benefit of Goku's life, even though Goku is kind of...
He is dead already.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's interesting about Vegeta, and I think if you really do think about and understand like the development that Vegeta has had since, let's say, the Buu Saga up to Super, especially like when he had that whole thing with the Kid Buu fight where Vegeta really did change, and again, like you mentioned, they kind of backtracked on that in Super and kind of gave him the rivalry, or the hardcore rivalry back. If you really understand Vegeta's character, I think it is a simple question to answer that, yes, of course he would. Vegeta would in fact sacrifice himself for purely Goku, but the reason I really feel like this is because Vegeta doesn't show a lot of emotion, but we've seen that he is definitely a caring individual. You know, he does love his family, he loves his son, he loves his new daughter, Bra. You know, even though he doesn't show it, we have seen scenes in Super, obviously, where he does show affection. He just doesn't want other people to see that type of side of him, but it does exist. And I feel like, you know, he does consider Goku family and, you know, like a brother. So I feel like that he definitely would sacrifice himself if that situation had fallen upon them, really. But for Goku, I mean, I guess first we should say, you know, the earliest that we could see this happening would be like, you know, Buu Saga though, right? Like, not Cell games, none of that stuff, because there was still... Vegeta was such a selfish person, like the Cell games, that there's no way he would sacrifice himself for a lot of people, really. Trunks was like that, Future Trunks was like that run thing. When Cell shot that hole through him, Vegeta was, you could see all the emotion bursting out. But in the Buu Saga, that's where I could see the sacrifice happening.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree with that nod there, because if you look at the whole thing with Trunks, I think that Trunks' death was like a turning point in Vegeta's life, because that was the first time he was really, you know, not being the selfish guy. He wasn't as evil as he was before in Dragon Ball, but he was still very selfish and egotistical in his own right.
Right.
And he was willing to, you know, charge a significantly stronger opponent, you know, knowing that he probably wouldn't have beaten him, just for his son in that fit of rage. So I would definitely say...
His son from another timeline, too.
Right, exactly. So, like, that tells you that Vegeta was already changing at that point, but at that point, I can't see him giving his life.
Right, and then he had 7 years to develop. But for Goku, I think that's an interesting one as well, even though, again, that's a simple one, because Goku's such a nice guy. But I think the question here is not really, would he sacrifice himself for Vegeta, because I think the answer is obviously he would. And, you know, you could say similar reasons that Vegeta would sacrifice himself for Goku, but here with Goku being such a nice individual and really caring about all of his friends and family, obviously this is a situation that would happen, but the question is, how early could we see this type of thing happen?
Well, with Goku, I think it's similar to Vegeta, because I definitely can't see Goku giving his life for Vegeta in the Saiyan arc. I mean, my goodness. I mean, that would just be the epitome of I mean, come on, you're giving your life for a guy who just tried to kill you. Yeah. You're giving your life for a guy who just tried to blow up your planet. That's not going to happen. On Namek, I mean, they really didn't interact that much if you really think about it. I mean, unless you count that little filler episode, you know, when Vegeta came back to see Goku as a Super Saiyan, Goku saw Vegeta for, what, like 5 minutes on Namek? I mean, It's ridiculous. Like, he shows up to fight the Ginyu Force. Hey, Goku, what's up? Goku knocks out the Ginyu Force, so he really doesn't talk to Vegeta. Then later on, Vegeta's on his deathbed, Goku buries him. Like, that's not enough for Goku to give his life for.
Right.
So, you go to the Cell arc, and you say to yourself, would Goku give his life for Vegeta in the Cell arc? And to me, I think it's probable, but it's still not, like, certain, because Vegeta was kind of on the fence with Goku. And remember, as we were saying before, you know, after Goku died in the Cell arc, Vegeta kind of changed because, you know, his rival was dead, and, you know, that was kind of his life's motivation. So I don't think Goku would give his life for Vegeta in the Cell game, simply because I just don't think they were that close yet, and there was still animosity. I do think for both of them, though, that the Buu arc is definitely where Goku would do it. And let's just tell the truth here, Bean. In Dragon Ball, with the Dragon Balls, it's not really that much of a deal if you give your life to somebody. Oh, Goku gave his life for Vegeta. Don't worry, we'll just bring him back. unless the villain's able to kill Vegeta and Goku and everybody's screwed, but you know what I mean.
It's an interesting topic, but I think that we can both agree that definitely in the Buu Saga, there was enough of a change in Vegeta's tone and character, and even Goku, obviously considering Vegeta more close to him, I guess you could say, that they definitely would probably trade lives for each other in the Buu Saga. I think definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, in Super, thus far, there's not even a question about it. I think the real question is, maybe in the Cell games, Goku might not have. It's, like you said, it's possible, but we just don't really know. And I think this whole video was an interesting kind of, I guess, character study for both of them, and mainly Vegeta. But I thought it was an interesting topic when I saw it on Ask FM, and hopefully you guys that watched this video enjoyed it as well. Share your thoughts down below. Quinn, is there any final thoughts you want to say before you take this video out for us?
Yeah, I just think another really interesting point I should make is that when you look at Vegeta's character, I mean, right now in Dragon Ball Super, with, you know, Bulla being born and him being the Super Dad of the Year, I think we can all safely say that Vegeta's character has changed so significantly that he would be willing to give his life for Goku. And because Goku's just naturally a more generous character, it's more believable for Goku to do it, but it's more shocking for Vegeta to do it.
Right, like if that actually happened,
considering where it all started,
it'd be a crazy scene for like everyone. Like no one would really expect it, but like, you know, talking about it in this video, it's kind of clear that he would do it, but you also wouldn't expect that to actually happen, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But you know, I guess that's about it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Quinn, take us out of here.
And please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys. And before you guys go, make sure you put a plate down and order as many beans as possible, because Bean from Beanie Bop Nation needs your 100% support. He is selling sensu beans, and he needs you guys to eat those beans up so you can get big and fat like Yajirobe.